I think it's safe to say you probably made like $100 million directly off this.
The positioning of it as a gift was an interesting psychological lever to pull.
You know, and if we're honest, it's probably like the most tremendously well executed info product sale of all time.
Welcome to another episode of the phenomenal first AI $1 million podcast. Nick, today we're talking about the $100 million playbooks, the $100 million launch from Alex Hormozi. Dude, first question, man. Did you catch the 16-hour live stream on that, man?
Can't say I stuck around for all 16 hours, but I definitely watched a few. And damn, does that man like crazily still have a voice at the end of that?
That's
I don't know
crazy.
how he does it. Dude, I talked for 3 hours and then like the fourth hour, I'm like...
The voice starts to get a little bit deeper and stuff. We'll do, I think, because today we want to break down basically what happened, how can you apply what happened, some controversial things, the Hormozi AI, which I think we've got some interesting comments to have on that. What's the TLDR you can take away from it? Personally, bro, I watched the first hour and 15 minutes.
Me too.
Because I think after the first hour, there was definitely a kind of pivot, a change in the nature of the event. And then the rest I caught up with after the fact. But it was interesting. I think probably if I had to zone into, I think perhaps we start with the event itself, which is live streaming, big in-person events, workshops seem to be the meta. If your goal is to drive conversions of some event, some kind of form, there's just something about being live on a call for an hour rather than kind of self-checkouts, either like through community or something. So, I mean, Mr. Beast did it in his big fundraise. Hormozi's doing it. I know even like Daniel Priestley does this. Everyone at the top of the game in the education space seems to land on this pinnacle of live event. So I thought that's probably a good place to start and think about why and what do we think about that?
Yeah, somebody that sold several $1 million of information product now, it just continuously blows my mind the degree to which you can show up live for like a 30-minute period. And then it's almost like you stockpile dry tinder with your advertising the entire time. And then you just like get a match and just light it the hell up in like that 30-minute period. So, like just to be clear, it's not that he just showed up and did this one thing and then now he made however many millions of dollars, probably over $100 million or whatever. He's been building up to it for the better part of the last 3 months. Some might say the last 4 or 5 years. But it just always blows my mind how much human beings just want that experience. Like they want live. We could go into the tactical reasons why live experiences are the best. I mean, obviously there's just a massive sense of urgency. That's really big.
I think that's really well said. The biggest takeaway I think is very well for everybody. And I've had this myself. Like I did a annual campaign. I made like $19,000 in 24 hours from one single post, right? Literally. But the reason for this is you build up goodwill. The concept of what Alex does is this idea that goodwill compounds faster than anything, right? So what I see what Alex did, he kind of collected on the goodwill he's developed over the past few years. And I think, there may need to be at least 3 to 5 years for the rebuild because the sales were quite heavy on that. But the idea is that you build up goodwill and then you capture it once. But what's interesting, what Alex did is the cadence. Most people they plant, they add value, they grab, they add value, they grab. What Alex has done is I'd try to add value for a very long period of time and do all his collecting in one go to try and maximize that. So the idea of being the longer the runway, the larger the playing go off. So I thought that was good. At the end of it, I was like, friggin' out. I think there was the you could buy the books in advance, which is cool, but the levels of the ascension pathway of the products you could buy, there was the 5K gift, then there was a 20K super gift that you could buy. So it's like it really hit all the different levels. And I was like, dude, you can do this once, maybe a year or so after that. So I was impressed at the extent, bro, of the sales. I know one of my buddies bought the 25K upsell for the I don't know, I think Alex Hormozi in your pocket or something. Like he'll come to your house and I don't know, put your shoes on. So I don't know what that includes or not, but you get acquisition.com in your pocket or something.
That's cool. Yeah, another buddy of mine got 10,000 books. And I was like, 10,000 books, really? And he's like, yeah, we bought 10K books. I was like, Jesus.
Fucking hell.
That's a lot of freaking books, man. That is really like the cashing in of the goodwill, if you think about it. It's like, it's like rewarding the person for obviously his massive impact on all of us, the kind of the next entrepreneurial generation, I would say. And we made so much more money than I think any of us will ever pay to Alex Hormozi, if I'm just being honest, both in terms of the tactics, but also just like the inspiration of seeing this giant hulk of a man, this walking erection, just to go through and just fucking print money. But then, like on top of that, there's the association now. Like when you do something like this, you're now associated with Alex Hormozi, right? And I think that was a big part of the tactical strategy. It's like, I'm not going to buy one book. I'm going to buy 200 books. I'm going to buy 1,000 books. I'll buy 10,000 books. And then what I'm doing is now I'm a distributor of his books. I had an interesting thought here. Logistics are usually a very big chunk of the expense in any sort of like physical business, right? Like book sales business. Instead of him selling these books one at a pop, which, he could have done and he wouldn't have made as much money, but that's a separate argument. By selling them 10,000 at a pop or 200 at a pop or whatever, he'd probably save significantly on shipping costs, right? Because then he could just bulk compile all the books, send them directly to one person.
Well, no. So this is an interesting point. So the shipping, I can give Nick Sarov a book, but when you get the code, you've then got to go pay for the shipping yourself. So the receivee pays for the shipping. So all you get is a coupon. And you pay for the shipping yourself.
Okay, yeah, that makes way more sense.
Which is genius because they now get your email.
Yeah,
because now I've got to enter my information. So it's clever like that. It's clever like that. And so it's like it was funny. I mean, like because I bought some books ahead of time and I was giving them out and stuff like this. But it's like, what was that like? The tulip craze in Denmark, like it's often compared to like Bitcoin, Bitcoin like blew up and stuff and like everyone wanted these tulips and then all of a sudden there's so many. Like I did wonder like, has the number of books being sold exceeded like available demand for it? So it's almost kind of like the number of books flooding the marketplace now. Like I had a couple of people say to me like, if you know anyone that needs books, let me know type of thing. It's very clever, dude. Distribution model is very, very impressive. So I thought that was really clever. The positioning of it as a gift was like, let's call it what it was, an interesting psychological lever to pull. Like I think that's a fair comment to make, that it's framed as a gift plus 16 bonuses. I'd say 99% of the purchasers were probably more interested in the bonuses than the gifting per se.
Yeah.
So that was interesting positioning. But what I was really impressed with is the amount of thought he put into how you were going to position everything that you were selling.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense because when you have no distribution, the most important thing you can do is just get distribution as quickly as possible. But he's probably receiving diminishing marginal returns on effort applied to new distribution growth. Because, if you look at his growth rate, he probably capitalized on a big chunk of the available business market over the course of the last few years. And now he's only getting new entrants. Everybody knows who Alex Hormozi is, even if they're not subscribed to him. So when you're at that point, the most important thing is like, okay, I have all this juice. How do I squeeze it like as effectively as possible?
Absolutely.
So he's probably spent like, months, if not like years, just thinking about like the most tactical way to do like upsells, downsells, position things as bonuses, position like ascension ladders, tie in his previous products, do things like school upsells with like the 3-month trial that we've seen. We've seen like 50,000 more people get into school in just the last like couple
That's insane. It's actually wild.
It's bonkers. So
it shows, doesn't it? It's like long-term strategy thinking. Most people think on a week-by-week time horizon. They don't think about what's my 2 to 5 year strategy.
And think about the amount of money that he's probably made school as well. I mean, this is a free trial association thing, right? So let's say 80% of them don't actually stay. That's still 20%. Previously, there were 50,000 or 60,000 schoolers, and now there's like 120,000 probably by the time that this
has it actually almost tripled? I didn't realize that big.
Let me just jump on right now and just double check. I don't want to be. Yeah, it's almost 130,000 right now, right? So it went from like 55 a few weeks ago to like 130,000. So
damn.
So he is a part owner in school. So his equity value, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so cool. It's so cool.
It's compounded benefited. Yeah.
How much money do you think he made? Let's just get down to brass.
Well, for sure,
directly.
At least $75 to $100 million, ironically, in like book sales. And then he'll get so if you think about it, right, he'll get 40% of all the $9.
Yeah.
So if you say 30%, so we said like, I don't know, how many have joined? Like, I'll call it like 100K for simple math, right?
Sure.
100K. Let's say 35%. That's 35,000 people paying $9 a month. So he's going to get 40% of that. So call that like $3.80 times by 35,000. You're looking at $133,000 a month. And then you're going to have a certain number of those that then go to the $97, right? So even if you call that like 10%, then go. I mean, then you got 3,500 paying $97. So
okay, 800 people took around 800 people took his $3,000 a month offer as well. That's $2.4 million a month.
800 people. Months. Wow.
Yeah. So
and what was the offer with that? That was like,
oh geez, honestly, I don't remember. He had a lot of offers. Let's just put it that way.
Damn. Yeah. But I mean, that was a monthly recurring offer. That was.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Was that like a X amount of dollars per month, or like a one-off?
Yeah. It was $3K a month. About 800 people took it, I think. So that's like 2.4 mil a month times 6 months. That's like 14 or 15 mil. So he has the direct book sales, which I think were like, probably what, like 75 mil or something like that.
Yeah.
He had like let's say 15 mil in that. So that's 80 mil. He had, I imagine, like some big ascensions that like we're just not going to know about. People buying the 30K and the 100K, stuff like this, as well as people signing up to like acquisition.com workshops. And then he had like the school revenue edition as well. I think it's safe to say he probably made like $100 million directly.
At least.
And then like in terms of the future value that he's driven is probably like another $50 to $100 million over the course of the next couple of years. I would guess, just off the top of my head.
No, I think that's really fair. And it's also, like you said, like platform value of the school.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, man,
I mean, it's clever.
Hundreds of millions.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is like, how do you get to be in a position to do this? I think one of the things, because, Nick, you and I both been at school games. We met Alex, we met Sam, we met those guys. One of the interesting things, it seems like the higher you climb up the mountain, no pun intended, because I know this Lego's a mountain, the greater the return on investment you get per unit of input. So, for example, when you in your entrepreneurial journey go from making 0 to 10K, it's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Then when you go from 10 to 100, it's like, well, that didn't feel like 10 times the effort. That felt like you're getting disproportionately good returns on your time investment. And this was actually one of the conversations I had with Alex at the time, was like, how do you find it when you went from that to, 100 million, whatever it is? And his view on it was that it only gets easier. And I would agree with that, because the hardest skill set really is that first like 90% to get you to your first like $10,000 a month. Then it's just kind of fixing slightly smaller problems in terms of, am I in a scalable business? How do I leverage? What's my constraining factor and stuff like that? So I think with Alex, if you're somebody who wants to make $100 million doing this, maybe, okay, make $1 million first. But if you want to make $200 million, this sort of stuff, my takeaway from this, Nick, is it's absolutely about distribution and reach. And how many people you've helped do what. And then only when it's value creation and plus value capture, right? You can do the value creation bit, but if you're crap at capturing the value, you're never going to hit that figure. You've got to be exceptional at adding the value and reach. Then you also need to be exceptional about capitalizing it. And I think what we saw there was a level 10 execution on value capture.
Yeah, I would agree. No, I mean, I'm sure there are ways that he could have made it even better, but like, this is like,
we'll bump him down a few levels. Level 8, level 9. We're not get too crazy of ourselves.
Yeah. But this has got to be, and if we're honest, it's probably like the most tremendously well executed info product sale of all time. Like, can you think of a better one? I can't.
No, I don't think so.
And what I like about it is it's showing in addition to telling, right? The cool thing about Alex, which he does a lot, is he will tell you how he's selling you while he's selling you. And this is something that I think I've organically picked up from him over the last little while. But he will tell you how he is selling you. So I'm doing this, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to like me and trust me. And then maybe at some point in the future, you're going to want to sign up for Blow, right? Like the goodwill you get from that is crazy. But then like this book launch was like that, like showing you the value of the book while he sold you the book,
100%,
which is the coolest shit ever. Like, so this is almost like a self-liquidating offer insofar that like it's like a self-proving offer. Do you think there's self-proving offers in AI or something? Can we just use this?
The classic example is crap, text-based ads convert.
Right.
We'll have to get customers. And if they sign up, well, does it work? Well, you clicked on it. So it's like there are certain offers that do work like that. Does that work with AI?
I do it with cold email all the time. Like, one of the ways I scaled the automation agency, 72K, was I just sold cold email all day. And when people got on the call, they were like, so how do I know that this works? And I'm like, well, why are we on this call together? I reached out to
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the checkmate, right? It's like the absolute checkmate. What was interesting as well on the thing is the Hormozi acquisition AI stuff. So, obviously, off to New York next week to do this whole thing. One of the competitions is going to be in RAG. So, Nick, I've spent more time in RAG than any mortal man on this planet should do, dude. I learned all the time. I was saying RAG in my sleep last night. I was talking about RAG so much, but when you'll know, dude, when you go deep in this stuff, you start asking some really interesting questions. So I've been like thinking a lot about RAG, and it's like chatbots. Like if you spent 2 hours on YouTube, you could probably build out a RAG chatbot. It's easy to get to 80%, but you want to close that last 20% quality differential. Like, how do you give one source, like, the metadata and prioritize? Like, Nick and Jack had a 2 a.m. conversation with Partner Guinness. How valuable is that versus a freshly minded caffeinated podcast at 12? Like, and you attribute these different things. So it's like, I think companies don't know the difference between a premium sirloin and a McDonald's burger when it comes to chatbots, because they're not aware enough about it. It works, right? No. But there's like an ocean of difference in terms of deliverability quality, but the buyer's not mature enough to understand that differential.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree. But you're diving really, really deep into RAG. Is this because of the competition with Nate where you're going to go head to head with some RAG agent?
Yeah.
So what's the idea then? So do you have to build a RAG agent first of all? Does it have to be RAG, or is this just like a tactical approach?
The first conversation is going to be RAG. So they're going to give us a multiple data sets, and then we're going to be asked. They basically will create a system, so we're going to vectorize it, and then they're going to basically fire through 10 questions, and they're obviously going to, like, some are going to be easy, some are going to be medium, some are going to be more difficult, some are going to be relational, where you need a bit of this and then a little bit of this information. They're definitely going to give us some dummy data. Like, I guarantee some's just going to be crazy. They're going to do prompt injections. They're going to maybe there's going to be images in the PDFs that you want to kind of vectorize and capture. Speed, maybe that's going to be a component. So I think the value really is going to be in the cleansing of the data and the metadata, and then the strategies to do this. So there's a few quirky little aces up my sleeve. I've been looking into the RAG universe, dude. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit. So it's good. Do you know what's really funny is, like, when you build this for clients, it's like, obviously you do it great, but like it forces you to go deeper into the subject than you wouldn't normally ever go into them, which has been really fascinating, actually.
Could I ask, what do you think about the Hormozi AI then, as somebody that's gone really deep into RAG?
Well, I think I've got access to it. I haven't used it yet, but from what people are telling me secondhand is that it's kind of like a chaperone and a guide to the box. So it kind of will point you to that kind of local RAG of, here's the excerpt that can help you with that. Like, where I found these RAGs fall down is, like, basically almost all the problems can be solved by context. If you solve the context thing, you'll get way better stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, quick aside, dude, I actually really think, like, if you're really good at scraping different data sources and ragifying it and into a good looking chatbot, like, really freaking cool lead magnet, like insanely valuable for businesses to have that sort of stuff. Because a lot of people just don't do it properly at all. I don't know where to get started.
You want to do like Jack and Nick AI? That'd be
we should
cool.
do, bro.
You know how many times I've had people be like, "Hey, like, why don't you just make a Nick AI and then you can sell it?" And logically, it just doesn't really make sense. Because how much would I sell it for, and then what percentage of my community could I upsell, and stuff like that. The math in it just, to me, doesn't really make as much sense. But I had somebody in my group build like a fuzzy Nick search a little while ago, very similar to what you're talking about with AI Alex. It was actually pretty useful because, a big common question I get is like, hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z? And it's like something I've already done. And then all it did was it just like looked through all of the content I've ever made. And we had metadata in the thing. So it was like a link to my YouTube video. You would ask it, and then it would just return you, Nick talks about X, Y, and Z here in detail. And then it's like a link to the thing. And that was actually kind of useful. But, as like pretending to talk to Nick, I didn't like that.
No, it's funny. Yeah. Well, dude, we just did this actually. Jack GPT, he's available. He's working now.
And slaving now, dude.
He's like, no. Well, I checked in on him to see how many conversations he's been having, which is funny. And like, we just indexed the school community so that it can point you to sections in the classroom now. Because
nice.
When I said, like, how can I be better for you? One of the things people were saying were like, dude, how do I freaking find this thing? And like the search functionality on school, something like they're building on at the moment. So it was like, okay, cool. Well, let's just get someone to like index everything. And then it'll say, great, go to this freaking school link, bam. And so we had to pick up the whole process of like, what if we delete a module? What if we add a new module? What does that process look like? Blah, 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 blah. And then fix it all up with the chatbot. But I told Sam, dude, you need to add a GPT in the chat for school that you can ask questions to. Like, if you want to create a new community or you want to do something, like, it's friction to find the thing. Like, wouldn't it just be cool if I could just say, hey, school GPT, how do I blah, 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 blah. And then like everyone's got that like guy. And then ultimately I would love to have that for groups where they just build that as a chat. Because we did that initially, actually. We had, so like one of the themes of my group is like this kind of like, level 8's like Terminator. So we had like John Connor was this guy in the community, and he was like V1 of ChatGPT. And we basically, you could message him, but like there was so many limitations because it took 5 minutes to get back to you. It was like, no, we can't use this. We've got to get him out of that. But if you could have an instantaneous, kind of like Discord has like those bots, bro. If you could have that like instantaneous reply, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I've been using a few GPTs recently, and they're very decent. And like, you and I were all over this AI stuff with our group. So it's like, it's very, very cool to do that. But all that to say, yeah, I'm going to play around with the AI. I'm probably going to build a Hormozi GPT as a bit of a flex on some of the RAG stuff that I'm learning, just to see how like good I could make it. Yeah.
Do you get head to head like AI Alex versus Jack Roberts' Hormozi GPT?
Oh, dude, wouldn't that be funny?
Very,
like
very funny.
Alex, his GPT, this GPT, like triple blind test. Like you ask it a question, which was which one was? Did
That'd
Alex
actually be pretty cool. I bet you if you put that in front of Alex and was like, hey, I made you a better GPT, work with me. Like I'm sure he'd take you up on it.
Yeah. Was like, I think, whales like that. I did this interesting question actually on lead acquisition actually on whales, which is like, you have your like public facing whales and you have your like private whales. I think like in terms of like channel saturation, like like anyone who's like Alex, like 100 DMs a day massively. So like if you don't have a relationship, your like chance of getting through, it's just more difficult. But there's probably like 90% that aren't very well known, that want to be well known, that just do not get that level of like inbound stuff that are probably easy to reach out to.
I like the strategy there because a lot of the time there's like a front end guy and then there's like an operator guy, and the operator guy is like not very well known. But
Not
the
very
front
well
end
known.
guy is obviously the operator guy makes most of the decisions. So if you reach out to the operator guy, the front end guy's going to figure learn about it pretty quick at the next damn meeting, and you don't have to obviously be one of a million emails. You can be one of like 10 emails. It's pretty cool, man. I've actually thought about like detailed systems to reach out to like very like powerful people. Back in the day, when I was scaling up, after Left Click, I had an opportunity to work with a PR agency out in Prague. And as part of this PR agency, my business partner at the time, Noah, built a system that was like hyper personalized email outreach. And I forget the name of it, but he had like a fun name that he called it. I don't know what it was. It was like John or something like that, whatever. So anytime we like wanted to reach out to people, we would like plug in their information to John. And you know what John would do? He would go and it would scrape everything ever said about a person. It would extract it into a giant table. This is, a couple of years ago, back when this was like not trivial to do. And then it would create this massive like document with tons of personalization on them. And dude, he got in touch with the US senators, man. Like US senators. Like he looped into US presidential candidates with like tens of millions of people following them. Like we had email threads with like some of the biggest and most powerful people on the planet. Not to mention like all the journalists, like getting in massive magazines like Forbes and, Wall Street Journal. Like that was straightforward with a system like that. So I've often thought about that, like with our knowledge and your now new RAG kind of knowledge extension here, dude, you could probably build like some crazy shit to like reach out to like powerful people all over the world. Like, dude, you could probably reach out to like, okay, I don't know for sure, but like massive list of every person that makes over $100 million a year. I don't know how many people they're going to be on that list. Probably a few thousand. And you could probably, with email enrichment and AI and stuff, like compile a big list of their, 90% enrichment and then just send hyper-personalized emails like that and probably get like 20% of them to get back to you. It's really just a matter of like will. So before I knew Alex, before I'd met him, I had that as one of my goals. I was like, I'm going to email him. And I was just like, I didn't know his email address. I had no idea how to do it. But I was like, I could figure it out. And, it turns out it's probably something really, I don't have it, but it's probably something super simple. But yeah, I was like thinking about that. The only thing that stopped me from doing it was just like, I guess it was like a reputational thing. I feel like if you had nothing to lose, you could do it really, really easily. Because, nobody cares about you. But if like you have a brand and a reputation, then it's like, oh, who the hell is this guy? And then like that associates you negatively. But yeah, man, like anyway, to make a long story short, to make this something actually actionable, if I could go back 5 years from now and then go to like when I was just the start of like making actual money online, I wish I did that. I wish I just compiled a big list of all the people I looked up to and just like did some hyper personalized crazy shit and then just reached out to all of them. Because I think that would have been worth a lot of value. And what you find at higher levels is a lot of these people, that have like massive brands and are hyper successful, they don't actually have like a lot of the operational talent to do good stuff, and they end up with like half-baked, watered-down products. So if you just like reach out to them and offer them something cool, yeah.
I couldn't agree more with that, bro. And it's also like this idea of just, this adage of like dress for the job you want, not the one you have. It's also like work for the person you want to work with before they even hire you. Like if you start building them shit, and if you just sent them stuff every week, like here's another cool thing, like eventually they're going to be like, oh, for goodness sake, here's some money, just come and work with. Like that's like a very under-leveraged like principle, this reciprocity stuff. So I love that. Dude, it's funny. One of my takes on the whales thing is like, I had a chat with somebody today about this, and it was like, they're about like, I'm not really getting the return on emails. I said, great. Well, how many are you sending out? It's like 10. I was like, okay. And then it was like, are you following up? And they're like, no. I was like, you may notice that like only 2% of total deals done by email are on the very first email. Like everything's in the follow up, which is like really, I said, well, it's really cool, really easy problem to fix it, right?
Yeah.
So there's like that side of things. But dude, I think whales are the one. I think targeting ops, like someone got a partnership with like Grimes or something. The way they got that is they just sent a letter to their home. Actually, I did this marketing technique with my last business actually, where it was like in the moving home space, and we sent like a brick to some of the developers, to their head office.
That's great.
With like a joke or something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I just got a brick delivered. They literally called me. He's like, I just got a brick delivered to my head office. Who is this? I was like, cool. I was like,
man, I love boots on the ground marketing shit like that. When we went door to door a lot of the time, my business partner had a brilliant strategy, and it was like these laser glass printed business card holders where you would deliver them. They were like, $20 or whatever. And it was like not like, very fancy, but it was like you printed their name and then their business. And it was like freaking aesthetically nice. You delivered it to their thing with your business card in it. It was like a little gift.
That's cool.
And it, like think about like the cost per acquisition there. Realistically, if you do this well and it's targeted and you have like a good offer, it's like you could send 5 of those and you could get a client. And it's like, this is like an LTV of like $10,000, and the cost of getting these things done is like $20. So 5 times 20 is $100. You have a 1% cost per acquisition. That's crazy. Weird how people don't. I feel like the interface between like the physical world is going to grow increasingly valuable just as we continue saturating like, digital outbound and stuff.
It is. I think one of the biggest mistakes I made in one of my first businesses is I tried to innovate too much on funnel. I tried to be too clever with how I got customers instead of using the really boring, simple stuff that just freaking works. So that was a really funny like segment I went off. What was really interesting to me also, by the way, is like, we're talking about getting out there. Like when I ended up selling some of that, what was in the meeting, I remember in the meeting, I was talking to the CEO, and we were in this room, and he says, oh, like who reached out to who here? And the guy was like, oh, I reached out to Jack. And it was like the power, Nick, just moved all to my side of the table. Yeah. So it's like, it's like you've got to increase your service area to lock. Like when you're out there a little bit, like it's just like the opportunities become more available. But it's this idea of tying it back to money models was this concept of, I think there's no lack of knowledge now. I think the how to do it is all out there. It's not a secret. It's not closely guarded secret in a vault somewhere. I think it's not a knowledge thing. It's almost certainly 95% of the time an execution problem of people not implementing the thing they need to implement. And it's like, you can learn this stuff, but there's no change in your behavior. You're not actually doing anything differently. You're not really going to actually go anywhere. So I thought that was a really interesting concept. But like, there's a subsect of people that learn, and like, I don't know, you think about this, bro, but like my take on it is that the reason why some people get really excited about launches like this is that they're looking for that hack, that they're looking for that secret little detail that once I do that, I can just implement this one thing and everything changes. Not kind of acknowledging the fact that like it's a million boring things that you're not doing that you've already been told to do that you've not done yet. So it's like, it's most of the time it's probably just a doing problem than a knowledge or hack problem.
Yeah, just another way I would say to illustrate the whole idea that the moat of product is that there's so little moat in product nowadays. The moat is just in like you actually going and like executing on it and talking to people. When I was one of my first businesses was this party business. I started in college, mostly just to like get a ton of chicks, and we threw events, at the local pubs and whatnot. And our whole our big marketing strategy was the massive unlock. We printed out posters and we put them in the bathroom. So we would just like go and we'd like get posters that you could print down at the local thing and then paste them above the urinals. And then we'd like get, I'd get some girls to go and like do the same thing in like bathroom stalls in the girls' bathrooms. And like, pre that strategy, like a few hundred people coming up, post that strategy, like lineups all the way down the freaking hill. I went to school on a mountain, funny story. But is that knowledge really? No, that's just like you not having the shame not to do that thing, Like it's so simple. It's just like scrappy bullshit marketing. Nikita Beer, who started this crazy app called Gas app. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was like hyper viral. His whole strategy, it's like some teenage app. It's like, hey, like, what's the gas on whatever? It's like some gossip bullshit. Like is most
yeah.
His whole strategy was he just followed. He went to the school Instagram page for high schools because most of them have them, and like most people that follow the school high school page are obviously in the school, right? So then he just like went through. He scraped all of the people that were following the high school page and then just like added them all with a message like, hey, somebody's talking about you on Gas app or whatever. And you're like a 17-year-old and you're like, oh, what the hell's Gas app? You're going to click it, right? That's the dumbest marketing strategy ever. And he immediately flipped that and made many tens of millions of dollars basically overnight.
Damn.
Like it doesn't take rocket science to do this or I will be honest, sending a brick to developers, that's hilarious. And I don't think that's kind of like actually kind of out of the box, but just the doing, like the agency in being able to make decisions that you're not 100% confident in. I think
it is. You're so right, Brick. It's like any idea could not be viral, but the key is, do you do the idea? Is your delta between idea and execution really small? And if it is, then you'll crush it and do very well with that.
Yeah.
You've just got to kind of do it, send the email, take the opportunity and get out there and do it and not be too in your head about it. Like you'll crush it eventually.
Yeah, you just got to put the freaking poster in the girls' bathroom stalls,
Yeah, personally, you really wanted to do that job. You're like, guys, I got this. I'll take this one for the team. I'll go.
No. Yeah,
dude, that's really funny. So I think the big takeaway I got is like cool event, loved it, interesting information. The AI bot was cool. I've seen a lot of AI in the wilderness failing, Nick, and flailing around, specifically in the ads side of thing, if not execute properly. But I think the key takeaway is like it's not a knowledge thing. Just do it, iterate, and try as many things as you possibly can as quick as you can. I think it's like it's simple basics.
But I'm 100% on the same page.
But what's interesting is what gets the click in this attention economy isn't do more of the thing you're doing, please. It's kind of super secret sauce, game changing stuff. So you're kind of wrestling with that. And I actually spend 4 or 5 hours a day on strategy stuff, and it was, dude, some of the best 4 or 5 hours I've spent actually. And what was really interesting to me, one of the big takeaways from that was, everything is a science. Like literally, when you look at it, like everything is like a science, basically, like more so than art. And that there's like a set thing that people want. And it was like this idea of you. I mean, I'll give you like a small micro example of this, and you'll know it because you're crushing it on YouTube. But just everyone listening, the idea was that like the strategy is basically you promise an outcome. There's like a defined problem that a person knows that they want to solve, right? So that could be, I want to get in shape, or I don't know, something like that. And then there's like a solution that could be really micro that no one really gives a crap about. It could be red pens. And this idea of like, when you're talking to people hooks and like short form content, you're not saying you need these red pens. You have to appeal to the problem they know they have. Like, is it classic sell them what they think they want, give them what they need in the video? because red pens doesn't make for a great video, right? But getting the leanest, freaking meanest, badass physique on the planet is something interesting. So there's so many like psychological things that you fall into, dude. So I thought that was like really interesting. And it was just, it's good to do a bit of strategy stuff this week.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see how that strategy stuff continues to deliver results for you, man. Because I remember the last time you did that a few months ago, I guess now, immediately after you dropped this huge, incredible banger about, was it AI operating systems or something? And that was really cool to see. I haven't really been keeping up with the YouTube stuff, to be honest. I've been doing my daily updates and stuff, but I think I've sort of fallen out of favor. What's the current state of the landscape right now? Is AI automation just like the,
is it dead?
It's just the cockroach people don't like? Are we using AI growth systems, operating systems?
Are we using operating systems? Yeah. So my pulse on it, and what was interesting is I did a bit of a deep dive onto every AI YouTube channel, actually. I went through all their content. I did, obviously, you can like get AI and stuff, but what was cool is I had a look at outliers on every channel. And I kind of got a visual map of it. So I could see like, just really interestingly, like where's the attention going? Like you can get like actual data points, right, bro? I mean, you're a savage at business stuff. But then there's also kind of, let's just freaking get this on a sheet of paper and look at like what's happening. And what's really interesting is like there's probably 4 buckets of different viewer types. And content does really well, picks one of those buckets and just hits that consistently, basically. But in terms of what people are actually watching, yeah, I mean, like, agency content's an interesting one. Like, there's a lot, I think, of people in the beginner teach me how to build my first blah, 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 blah type of thing. And then there's like a growing middle mass of people who are kind of know how to build blah, 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 that are more interested in slightly more, how do I do the next thing, which is great. How do I know how to build, now teach me how to sell type of stuff. So yeah, I think that's probably like one of my takeaways from it. I mean, if that resonates with your thoughts on it, Brew.
Yeah, like going top of funnel, I think, is just the way that most businesses will eventually go. You like reach this saturation of people that know their stuff. And so you need to start like educating people on what the stuff is. That's why so many people just inevitably, I think, just end up, like myself included, making content that lacks like the depth that it might have had initially. And then it just ends up getting people interested in the opportunity, I would say, because you end up just having a lot of content that you build over the course of the last few months or years that like actually explains the, like how to actually do the rest of it. I think we see that with a lot of people. So I don't know if it's like increasing top of funnel. Like, to be honest, I don't know if that's the play. I mean, that's what Hormozi does, right? Like he went from talking about specific sales techniques, specific like gym coaching techniques. I've been going through his content over the last few weeks, to like, here's how to stay disciplined. It's like, all right, like specific sales coaching technique, like that applies to a subset of a population, but then how to stay disciplined kind of applies to everybody, right? So you get people in from the how to stay disciplined, and then they kind of self-select their path, choose your own adventure. So yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all the content moving forward. I think it's been like a month since I posted on the main channel. I've been trying to
what should I do that? Have you just been I actually had this like internal battle where like I'd appear on YouTube and I was like, are you a YouTuber or are you an entrepreneur?
Yes.
And I think there was a period of time where I'd identified as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And when I had to take some time away to do some other business stuff, I almost felt like I was not doing what I should be doing. And then I reminded myself, actually, no, you're an entrepreneur who is also a YouTuber. Like, it's not all like, do you know what I mean? I don't know if you ever had that realization where it's like, because you get so into it sometimes, you almost feel like if I'm not posting on a certain cadence, you're somehow like failing. But there are times where it's just not the highest leverage thing for you to do.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being pragmatic, there are people that make YouTube their whole thing, and then there are people that run businesses and just treat YouTube like a lead generation mechanism. That's what it is, right? Just a marketing mechanism. So it's like if you get kind of too into yourself, then the lead generation marketing mechanism just becomes everything. And then it's also just like, what are you doing this for, right? I had this thing where initially I wanted to optimize for just total views, and then I wanted to optimize for subs. Now I'm like, all right, like what should I really be optimizing for? And it's like, I should be optimizing for goodwill, like Alex Hormozi. Now, obviously there's no way to know how much goodwill you're building, which is why subscribers and views, these are like proxies, and you have to, focus on some directionally correct metric. But yeah, I don't really know what it is. My friend Matt, he focuses on RPM. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
his whole, because he's like, well, RPM is kind of exactly what you're asking for, right? Like, what is impact? It's like, who are you targeting? First of all, who is listening to your stuff, and what is the capacity of that person for making some impact? And if I could change their behavior, then obviously I'm going to be making a lot more impact. I'm going to make way more money. Therefore, RPM is the metric I should focus on. I thought that was interesting.
100% agree with that. So many people still don't understand that who's watching is more important than how many people are watching.
Yeah.
It's insane. The other thing is brand, dude. Like I had someone reach out about a sponsorship. They were kind of like, basically they wanted to pay some good money, but it was like I ended up being like no. And also another, I mean, you'll get so many sponsorship stuff, I know, as well. It's like I ended up not like, I'm so particular about like who brand associations become a thing. Like the problem with brand is it's not a number on a spreadsheet you can optimize, kind of like Goodwill. But who you associate with is really, really important. And if you start working with a brand on a platform and they're not aligned with you're not going to see a number go down, but it's like you have to closely guard that stuff. Like you have to be so on top of that stuff because the opportunities only get bigger like as you get bigger, right? That's because your brand value gets better. So that's something you've got to closely guard, I think, as you scale things up. Because I guarantee Alex would have been offered $200K to sponsor, I don't know, freaking OnlyFans 2 or some crap. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like he's definitely going to get this kind of offers, but you got to be like really like diligent with it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was thinking about that actually because I saw the something that he had with hostage tape. I don't know. It's like the nose strip brand that he had, and there was some issue with the owner, and they like showed the text messages between him and the owner, and I think they were talking some percentages, and Alex like was not willing to do it unless he got a massive percentage. I think he wanted half of it. And that was really interesting to me because I was like, well, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like when you have so much availability and so many options, like, you have to pick so sparingly. And the ones that you do pick, you do have to go all in on, really. Because like, what's the alternative, right? Like there's a fixed cost to negotiating every partnership that you have or every business. I gotta be honest, I've gotten probably like 20 people in the last week offer to start a business with me in some capacity or offer to work with me on some partnership for their business or do this or do that. It's like very, very difficult to decide on whether, and most of them don't do, like, if you do that, you'll go nowhere. Remember when we were chatting, like, okay, so just to ground this, your thing with N8N right now, you're being flown out to New York to do this like one-on-one battle with Nate Herc, right? And there's like some monetary prize associated with it, but the big prize I would say is like the association and then the distribution prize, right? Because like it's like, oh, now I'm like, and also not to mention it's just gonna be fun, dude. It's gonna be fun as hell. Like that's just gonna be a once in a lifetime thing. You can get so much cool content. So you stack up all of the pros compared to the cons of that, which are that you, I don't know, have to go out and fly, or you have some association with a particular a company versus not. And I think that makes sense. But like, what about the other 999 tools that have reached out to you, Mr. Roberts, over the last like 2 weeks, being like, hey, can you make a video about us? Like, how do you know what's good, right? Like, some of them offer a lot of money. Like, have you been offered lots of money for YouTube videos yet?
Guess it depends. We might buy lots of money, but like
I got offered $100,000 for a YouTube video.
For one video?
Yeah, for one video. And I was like, holy shit. Then I was kind of like, no, you can't, because they want like a dedicated integration where I say, this video is sponsored by, and I'm like, dude, why would anyway, why the hell would I even want to do that? Like, why would that even be beneficial? But anyway, so I paused for a second. I was like, should I take this on? $100,000, a ton of money. But anyway, I ended up saying no because I was like, okay, the cost of future product sales will go down more than $100,000. And then like it was a cool company, but I was like, the cost of that on my reputation and my ability to get future sponsorships would probably go down. And I was like, all right, it just doesn't make sense. But like, there's probably is some number, right? Like, I don't know what that number is.
There's a number, yeah. But it's like,
there's none. Like, I want 50% of this company in order to promo at the hostage tape one, because that was a specific example. Like that, he had some mental calculus where that made sense. But how much money is your soul worth, Jack?
I don't think you can put a price on it, bro. Just like, how much is your integrity worth? We don't know, but it's worth more than $100,000. We know that, right? Dude, that's awesome. You said no to that. And I agree. It's like, man, you can't betray your audience like that. You just like, I'm sure you don't do something you truly believe in, but like, dude, when someone offers you $100,000 to do a video, you can think of all the reasons why. Well, it'll be blah 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 blah. But like, yeah, you got to be really diligent about that. But I think that just goes to, bro, like huge compliment to you, man, about like brand value. Like people recognize like the stuff you're building. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah. And, pragmatically, they probably did some calculation with RPMs and stuff too, which, kudos to them for doing it. But they probably calculated and made some extrapolation about how they'd make more money over the course of next year and the money they spent on it and stuff. I get that. But
well, if you wanted to dethrone like an N8N or a Maker Zapier, you'd want to grab every AI education influencer you could do and get them using the software.
Yeah, I agree. Because this
exactly
is the main mechanism by which people like learn to use the software. They have awesome tutorials and stuff, but like it's weird, hey? People just want people to teach them stuff. They don't want like documentation pages. They just want people. And it's like whether the person like gives you a text resource or whether the person makes a video resource, like I've just come to realize they will actually learn it better if it's taught by a person versus just some like faceless company page. Isn't that weird?
It's very true. People, that's not going away. That's why that's so freaking trendy. Well, dude, speaking of trendy, should we do a couple of comments on the beautiful YouTube?
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's open it up and let's see some people.
Let's cook this up, man. Let's
roast the hell out of us.
Dude, we got our first artwork. I thought that was really freaking dope.
We got our first. Sorry, say that one more time.
The artwork, the image.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's sick, man. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen in 1 second, and then Jack and I will talk. Like we'll actually tell you what the comment is. And I'm just going to delete this thing because last time I realized it's been in the...
It doubles up my computer.
Dude, hey, I just realized. Check this out, Jack.
Talk to me, bro.
What the hell happened here, man?
What happened on August 17th?
I think it was 16th. What happened on August 16th? So for anybody that's listening, we had 126 subscribers in the last... I don't know, like mostly in the last like week and a half, I would say. So
that's really cool. I wonder what happened.
Thank you to everybody for subscribing. Okay. Well, we don't have too many of these questions to go off of here, Jack. Okay, we should probably actually answer this guy's question. I don't really think we have the other one.
We should take that one offline and do that one, yeah.
You want to take that one offline? Like I can show you now.
All right, let's do it. Let's go for four minutes, yeah.
Screw it. Who the hell is this? No, I'm just kidding.
Who's this guy?
All right. Hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna like CC it. This is a high budget production. You were thinking of making videos. I was looking and I was like, no, I don't think that's the room. But dude, we've had a lot of crazy stuff
this week. I didn't realize I said dude so much. Holy shit.
Okay, listen. We cannot clarify what he was saying around 4 minutes around making content. Moving on.
Something to do with dudes, I think.
Property Reviews, a sub from your daily updates channel. I couldn't find your channel without the link on your daily channel. YouTube might be seeing it as an AI produced channel that your vids are AI manufactured versus your actual real podcast interviews. That is so interesting. What do you think about this?
I agree. It's also hard. Which channel is it talking about?
I have this daily updates channel here. Where I publish video every day, and it's just me talking about various things. But anyway, so what I did is like a few days ago, I mentioned this podcast somewhere. I think it was this one. Live audit of a 287 sub YouTube channel by a $400,000 a month creator. So I actually did like a roast of our podcast, Jack. So I think
that's really cool, dude.
Yeah, it's probably where he found it from. So when you want to find the channel, you had to search Nick Srive, Jack Roberts podcast. So what happens when we do this? I'm going to show my YouTube Explore page here.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's rough. Yeah, we don't actually see it, huh? Whoa, it takes us a while because we see our channel. This is a beautifully produced thumbnail, by the way. Nice job.
Oh, thank you, man.
All right. Anyway,
we'll work on that. Yeah, SEO or something.
Yeah.
We'll just make sure names in the description. That's probably really, really easy one for us to do.
Yeah. And I'm going to go through later today. If you're game, I could go through and then make all those changes that I talked about.
Yeah, dude, 100%. We can blast that. I've got some time after this. I can just...
Cool. Russabus says, got a solid question for you, bros. What kind of questions would facilitate or encourage more questions in a way that sparks a chain of additional questions that leads to a quantum explosion of your channel breaking the YouTube algo? Shit, I don't think I need to take more mushrooms to fully get this.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. Yeah, we need to. I think we need to be under the influence of some strong something to understand that. I've only had 4 coffees today, bro. Maybe my 5th coffee. I can wrap my head around what that's trying to do. Like,
I think the spirit of the question is like, what kind of questions can we ask people to make them ask us questions back?
Well, I think this is one that we should let the scholars debate. What do you think?
Okay, Dean says, why are voice transcription apps only popping off now in the AI era? They were possible before without using AI. Thank you, Dude Bros. Great question for you because you're making that voice transcription app.
Dude Bros. Do you know, that's a good question because it only really popped on my... I think I just never saw it before, personally, online. I never saw it before online. And when I saw it being used by somebody, I was like, I need that. So I wonder if it's just like, it just had to hit the educator community or something. Because realistically, where are you going to get that? What cars you're driving, what technology you're using, unless someone's using it on a video. So I think probably they just saw it on a video, dude, bro. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I don't think it's something you independently ever go out and search. I think it's just something you see and just want.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I do think technology has gotten better. They were possible before, but like when OpenAI dropped Whisper, for instance, like transcription accuracy spiked up, right? So there was kind of a period there where I think like the technology was available with Whisper, and then people weren't using it. But I don't think that was that big of a period. Maybe it was like a year and a half or two before these voice apps started coming out. Because like, dude, when before Whisper, I would try occasionally and use like the voice transcription stuff, and like maybe every 10th word would be wrong. Now with voice transcription apps, you know, like the many ones whose names I will not mention, unless you actually want to like drop the name of yours, that's fine. I'll just do that every podcast. Now with those, it's like 1 in like 100 words are wrong. So I mean, I think the technology is a big.
They're getting better. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, Dude Bros. I live in China. How would you leverage AI in China? Thanks for all the content, dudes and bros.
The same way I would do in the USA or the UK.
Yeah, I don't have any major difference between, you know, Chinese market AI and, you know, Canadian, American, UK, whatever market AI. I think you could absolutely do this. And to be honest, I'm just not like maybe there are some fundamental market differences that prevent you from using AI down there. I'm just not like aware enough, unfortunately. Sorry, dude, bro. Okay, diminishing returns on GPT hype cycles, says Aaron Miruzu. I would agree with that. Sam Altman came out and he said that definitively GPT-5 launch was not as good as he thought it would be, or something.
That's honest. That's very honest of him.
Great videos, guys. Question currently in the microwave, 30 seconds left, says Lilith Ava.
Dude, I love the quality of these questions, dude. They're really, you know, they really make you think.
Yeah, well, Jack, that's our problem. Anytime somebody asks us a question, we just shit on them.
We're out there like sparring with these guys. We're laying down shots on our audience members, dude.
God damn, you know, we gotta do this in the intro. We have to mention that we are taking questions and we'll answer anybody's question down below.
I like that, yeah. Well, we appreciate all the Dude Bros in the comments. Keep them coming for next time. Yeah, so Nick, we'll jump offline, get some stuff, and then we'll help you get closer to that beautiful $1 million next week's episode.
Sounds good.